Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really diving into Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. Now, if you think getting ahead with money is all about, spreadsheets and complex formulas, well, this might just shift your perspective quite a bit. The core idea. It's simple, but pretty revolutionary. Money isn't just numbers. It's really about our feelings, our actions, our whole psychology. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how much that challenges the usual way we think about wealth, right?
Yeah.
Understanding that human side of things is just so critical for actually succeeding financially. Often it's like way more important than just knowing technical stuff or even having a big income. This approach gives us some really unique insights into why some people build wealth and others, well, they struggle, even if they started in a similar place.
Exactly. And look, we're aiming to give you a bit of a shortcut here. We want you to be well-informed on this, focusing on the practical wisdom rather than getting bogged down in complex theory. We've sort of boiled down Housel's main points into 8 core lessons, and honestly, they might change how you think about your own finances. Here's where it gets really interesting. So let's kick things off with a big one, maybe a bit counterintuitive. Wealth is what you don't see. Housel makes this great point that society often focuses on the visible stuff, the fancy car, the big house.
Right, the outward displays.
Yeah, exactly. But he argues true wealth is actually hidden. It's the savings, the investments you're quietly building up, that financial strength that nobody really sees.
Precisely. It flips our whole idea of what success looks like. You see people who seem rich, but they might be drowning in debt. Meanwhile, the genuinely wealthy, often they live much more modestly than you'd expect. Building that financial power is an internal game, really, not about showing off. It takes some mental rewiring to get that.
And that idea connects directly to the next key insight. Saving is greater than earning. It almost doesn't matter how much you earn if you spend it all, right? Housel really hammers home that building wealth is less about the size of your paycheck and much more about your savings rate, how much you actually keep.
Yeah, and that really forces you to look at your priorities, doesn't it? Are you chasing a bigger salary, or are you focused on being disciplined with what you already have? The book strongly suggests that second path, just saving diligently, is often more effective and, frankly, more achievable for most of us.
So, okay, you're saving diligently, but why? What's the point? That brings us to lesson 3. Freedom is the ultimate goal. Housel argues money's real value, its best use, is the control it gives you. Control over your time, your choices.
Yeah.
That feeling of waking up and deciding what you want to do with your day, that's the real wealth.
That reframing is so powerful. Money as a tool for autonomy, for choice. It's not just about piling it up. It's about buying back your time, maybe leaving a job you hate, or just not feeling pressured by external stuff. That optionality is huge.
Okay, and then there's the lesson that feels, well, almost magical. Compounding is magic. Think about Warren Buffett. Yeah, he's smart, obviously.
Yeah.
But his real superpower, he started investing super early and just stuck with it for decades.
Incredible patience.
Right. Time plus patience equals these massive results eventually. Even starting small, say just $100 a month when you're young, can totally blow past larger investments made later on. It's that exponential curve.
And our brains are just not wired to intuitively grasp that exponential growth, We think linearly. We miss how those tiny, consistent inputs can just explode over time, like a snowball rolling downhill, just gaining incredible momentum. It's amazing when you see it play out.
So if compounding works like magic, what actually drives financial success day to day? Now, House argues it's less about being a genius and more about your actions, which leads us to, it's not about IQ, it's about behavior. Being good with money isn't about complex math, it's about your habits. Staying calm during market swings, being consistent with saving, knowing when greed might be creeping in.
That's such a key distinction. It means things like emotional regulation and self-discipline can be more valuable than pure intellect in personal finance. It's about what you do repeatedly, consistently over the long haul, not just what you know on paper.
And building on that, Housel injects a necessary dose of humility with this next one. Luck and risk matter more than we admit. We tend to judge success and failure pretty harshly sometimes, right? But luck, and its flip side, risk, play these huge, often invisible roles.
Absolutely.
You can make all the right moves and still hit a patch of bad luck, or someone else might stumble into success, partly through good fortune.
It definitely makes you reconsider the stories we tell ourselves and others about success. It encourages humility when things go your way, because luck was probably involved, and maybe more empathy when things don't work out for someone, recognizing there are forces beyond just individual effort.
Okay, lesson 7 is a really important warning. Never enough is dangerous. This idea of constantly chasing more, never feeling like you have enough, never appreciating what you've got, that can lead to real unhappiness and sometimes even ruin.
Yeah, moving the goalposts constantly.
Exactly. The book stresses how vital it is to actually define your enough. What does financial security actually mean to you?
It's a psychological trap, isn't it? That endless pursuit. Defining enough isn't just about being content. It's crucial for avoiding burnout, maybe cutting ethical corners or just making bad decisions driven by greed. Knowing you're enough actually frees you.
And finally, the point that sort of ties all these threads together, you're not alone. Money is personal. What works financially for me might not work for you. Why? Because our decisions about money are so deeply tangled up with our individual life experiences, our biases, our unique histories.
Right, there's no single right answer, no universal blueprint. It really underscores that understanding your own psychology, your own relationship with money is key. You need to make choices that actually fit your life and your definition of well-being, not just copy what someone else is doing.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? The psychology of money isn't really a get-rich-quick guide. It's not about stock tips. It's fundamentally about understanding ourselves better so we can make money work for our lives instead of, letting it run our lives. The core message Alligatz keeps coming back to is be humble, be incredibly patient, and above all, just be consistent. That, he suggests, is the real path.
Which really raises an important question for you listening right now. How do these ideas challenge your assumptions about money? And thinking about this human psychological element, how might that reshape your personal definition of wealth and maybe change your own approach to achieving financial well-being? Something to think about.